I'd feel my ribs constricting, and all of a sudden I'd be up on top of the ceiling.
Hello, Colin. Congratulations on the film.
Hey, Lainey, thank you.
My first question is, how does a fellow who, by his own admission, quote, can't really swim, end up playing a real-life rescue diver?
Bad casting, Lainey. Bad casting. And I'm all the better for it. Yeah, I mean, I didn't think we'd be doing the amount of water work that we ended up. I honest to God thought there'd be a couple of like little close-ups and stunt divers then would come in. Yeah. But I have to kind of blame Viggo and his utter commitment to the project, because he was saying, we should do all the diving that we can possibly do, and you should work weekends. And I was I wasn't going to let him have all that glory. So I said, okay, in for a penny, in for a pound. Yeah. I'm with you if you want to do that. I had a couple of really dodgy moments underwater, which nothing dramatic, nothing that will titillate the audience if anyone's watching and wondering what went wrong. Nothing that, I mean, I did have a BC that kept inflating without me inflating it. And that was weird. Okay. No, that was weird, because all of a sudden I'd be under the water, and it happened 5 or 6 times to the point where they had to change my BC out. And a couple of the stunt divers literally were looking at me going, so you're the guy, you're the one that this, there's usually someone that has a bit of trouble with their gear. So I'd be underwater and I'd hear, and all of a sudden I'd feel my ribs constricting, and all of a sudden I'd be up on top of the ceiling, up against the roof of the cave, trying to just you'd let the air out, and then I'd unhook. Anyway, yada yada. There was a couple of moments where I had severe kind of anxiety under the water, but it was as safe as it could be. I mean, we had a great team of divers that were there, and we had great support systems and all that. But yeah, it's water.
But you weren't just acting and, obviously doing the thing, but you were shooting sometimes too, because there were shots that are point of view.
But it was kind of one of those things where if you just did in the moment what really served you, like if Colin did what served Colin best in that moment, if I did what served me best, it would also be serving the character, because I just had to stay calm. And John is a very calm man. His heart, I mean, if you look at John, even he'll run a marathon and his heart rate won't go over 135 beats a minute. Like, he's really calm, he's really fit, he's incredibly strong mentally. So I just made sure to stay as calm as I possibly could and hide my nerves, and that was all the acting that was needed to be done. You just focus on the job at hand. If you're given an activity and you can just focus on the activity, well, then truth will present itself at every turn throughout the exploration of that activity.
Well, I want to talk to you about that calmness, because John talked about how diligent you were in preparing for the role to play him, and one of the things you did was you started running like him. So was that calmness and that heart rate thing what you were trying to mimic?
It was just really simple, kind of fun. One day I just knew that with the running thing, I just knew running played a big part in John's life. And I suppose you're just trying to have cross-referential experiences, between you. Like if you're playing any character, whether it's fictional or somebody that exists, you're wondering what they do and how they live their lives. And any time that you can touch or experience even briefly something that they do that you don't do, well, then you're getting closer to an alternate reality than you're used to experiencing. Mm-hmm. So with that in mind, I just started running a little bit because I knew it was important to John, and it did. It's a longer conversation. What running means to me now is a longer and lovely conversation. Like it's kind of changed my life.
Oh, you've become one of those people, a runner. Okay,
I get it. My life. Yeah, I run 4 days every week. I never ran in my life before this film, and that's as a result of that's kind of like John's passion and diligence and focus, and also his I don't know if it's a need, but his engagement with his own solitude. He'd probably tell me to fuck off if he heard that, but his engagement with his own solitude is something that has stayed with me. It's kind of been contagious. So it's been
that is a separate conversation, because I also run, but
you run.
I don't want to let you go. I do, but I don't want to let you go without talking about Thai culture, because Ron Howard talked about how important it was for him to honor the Thai people, and especially the local Thai community that was involved in it. How did you feel that energy every day on set?
You just felt it. I felt it through my closeness with the Thai members of the cast and crew. We had obviously in front of and behind the camera. Our DP was Thai Sayampu, and he and Ron worked very closely together. But we also had 2 Thai producers who were all over us as far as if something happened that wasn't kosher, or as far as certain explanations or certain articulations of thoughts, behaviors went. So there was a real keen eye on. But look, all that aside, right? That's the propriety of it all. And I know that we all went through great lengths because we didn't want it to be just a white savior thing. Yet we had to honor that the guys that actually took the kids out, the last stages, were these guys that they actually were. But then I was delighted when I saw the film and there wasn't a word of English spoken in the first 10 minutes. I was like, yeah, good, because it's not about us. And I really felt watching the film. I know that I'm one of the main divers and Joel's one of the main divers and Viggo's, but I really felt that we were there to service something greater. And the greatest kind of thing that I left the theatre feeling in regard to the film, apart from how extraordinary just simply the achievement was the spirit and the generosity and the decency and the faith of the Thai people. And so I felt, as a Westerner, I felt that was pronounced and that was present. And I hope that Thai people feel that way, because it's important to me that they feel respected and heard and seen. And that's why it was so great that we had so many of our Thai brothers and sisters that were there on the set every day sharing the experience. But look, in other words, just to be around the Thai people as well, they're just cool, man. They're just the loveliest, most vivacious people. The sense of community they had, cooking together, being with each other, the laughter they had, how serious they took the work as well, how proud they were of this story and of this moment in their shared history. So all that stuff was very, very beautiful to be around. It was a very humbling story to be a part of, in a really cool way.
Well, thank you for your time. They're wrapping me now, but I really appreciate that.
My pleasure. How often? And you run? Do you run every week?
Yeah, I run 3 times a week. I haven't, and I've run for years, but I hate every minute. So it's not. I'm not like.
I have a love-hate with the thing as well. I have a love. I get sometimes I get anxious before I go for a run, and I mean like Tuesday afternoon if I'm going out for 5K, I might get a bit anxious because I know. But then I just, anyway, it's a longer conversation because there's a love part of it as well that's very deep.
If I ever see you out in the wild, we'll talk running. Thank you so much.
Bye, Lainey.
Bye.
Thanks for watching Etalk. Make sure you hit subscribe for more celebrity interviews and entertainment news. And while you're here, why not watch another video? I know you want to.